Maryland Homestead Tax Credit, that's what we're talking about today. This is a familiar term within real estate. Many of you homeowners out there, I'm sure you've heard this before. A lot of times this gets brought up at the closing table. Somebody brings it up and they say, hey, after you move in, make sure you make application for your homestead tax credit. Did you forget about it? Maybe this is your friendly reminder to take action. So what is homestead tax credit? This is something that's more significant than ever right now with our home values up. This is trickling down into our assessment data. So your homestead tax credit, what it does is it puts a 10% threshold on how much your assessment data on your principal residence can go up annually in the state of Maryland. How does that work? Let's use this as an example. Say your property is worth $100,000. Something happened, your assessment data is going up to 120. Now, if you have an application on file, that assessment data is, or I'm sorry, your property assessment is going to be restricted in that scenario to only go up to 110. It's going to put that 10% threshold on it. Now, how does that work? It's going to trickle down into your property taxes that you pay. If you're curious about this and how it works specifically, call me, DM me, or something like that. We can get into it. But more or less, as a homeowner with rising values, that's getting into your assessment data, something you need to be aware of. What we need to do though is there's different ways that we can verify if you have your application on file, where do you go to make application? So as of September 11th, 2023 this year, the eligibility application has moved and is now on Maryland One Stop. So the application process for this is kind of silly because it's more or less you got to go through the motions to do it, but fortunately it's all online, so it's not that complicated. So for now, what you do, if you need to make application for your homestead tax credit, simple. You go to onestop.maryland.gov, go in there, filter through your county, register through your property address. You can make your application there. Simple. One thing to bring up, many of you know I worked a lot with PCS and active duty military clients that are coming into the state. A lot of times I recognize that some of these guys, their driver's license are registered to a different state. You know, say for instance, maybe Florida or Texas or something like that. And they'll kind of get in this circumstance where because of that, they may think that they can't go through with a homestead tax application. Now, as long as your principal residence is here in Maryland with that property, you should still be able to go through and make application and have this done. So that's something that is really important to take into consideration. And kind of the one thing that we need to be aware of is how do we check our homestead tax credit applications? So it's fairly simple. You do it online. What we're going to do is basically go to s.maryland.gov. Many of you are probably familiar with this website. What we're going to do is basically find your county, put in your street address, and then once you get into here, you'll be able to come down, and when it pulls up to your property information, this is going to be your public record sheet. Go to the very bottom, and it's going to show you your homestead application status. So if there's nothing here, that means we need to go to onestopmaryland.gov and make the application. If you have something here and it shows approved, out of sight, out of mind, you're done. You've done it at some point. This is not transferable. So as a new homeowner, it's something you have to take responsibility for. So this is a significant thing to go through the motions and take care of as a homeowner in this climate of a market. Any questions or concerns or anything like that, feel free to DM me below or give me a call.